Hello, and welcome to our on-demand leadership workshop. My name is Olivia Brown, and I am the Assistant Director of the Center for Leadership.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tierza and I'm the director of the Center for Leadership. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about crucial conversations. There are a lot of resources online and in books about how to have crucial conversations. Today we're going to give you all a pretty brief introduction and overview of crucial conversations. But I also just wanted to note that if you're interested in this topic and you want to learn more, definitely reach out to us and we can give you some more resources on this topic. You might also notice in the bottom left-hand corner on your screen that it says Student Organization Leader Development or SOLD. So if you are watching this as a student organization leader, you are in the right place. We are hoping that this workshop can help you as a student organization leader, help you with your leadership in that sense. If you are not a student organization leader, that is okay too. This video is for any and all Elon students who are looking to grow their leadership skills. So either way, keep watching. So again, we're joining you all from the Center for Leadership. So always want to give just a brief overview of who we are and what our mission is. So we want all Elon students to graduate with a greater leadership self-efficacy. The leadership self-efficacy is one's confidence in their ability to do leadership. So we want all Elon students to be able to say, yes, I am a leader and I can do leadership effectively. We also want Elon students to be able to work together with diverse communities of people because when you graduate, you're going to be working with people who are very different from you. You're going to have to communicate, work together, and reach goals with folks who have different backgrounds and experiences than you. So we want students to start to learn and practice that here at Elon. And then lastly, we want students to go out into the world and be leaders for positive change. So always be thinking about how you can make the world a better place, or maybe how you can make someone's day better, or even just improve a group. And we want students to be able to have not only the confidence to do this, but also the competence. So the skills and abilities to be able to do leadership effectively. So that's part of the reason why we're talking about crucial conversations today. We hope this is a skill that you can build as a leader. We also highlight the NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers Career Readiness Competencies. So these career readiness competencies are put together by not only colleges and universities, but also employers who tell and are surveyed about what they think college students need when they graduate to enter the workforce. So these are all skills that employers want. If you'll notice, leadership is actually one of the skills. So we find these competencies very important for college students, not only here at Elon, but when you graduate. These are things that employers have highlighted that they will be looking for. So hopefully today we'll be able to grow some of these skills, especially the leadership one. Awesome. So just to give a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about in this video, we'll define crucial conversations. So what makes a conversation crucial? We'll talk about some keys for handling crucial conversations, give you all hopefully some strategies and some tips, and then have you reflect and hopefully have some takeaways. And again, if you want to dive deeper into this topic, please let us know. We'd be happy to give you more resources. Some goals we want you to take away are some strategies to have crucial conversations. Hopefully, you'll feel a little bit more confident and a little bit well equipped to have these conversations. We want you to set some goals for yourself and hopefully apply this to your student organization if you're watching as a student organization leader.
Okay. So what makes a crucial conversation? I think the first thing we have to define is what type of conversation you need to have. Sometimes we need to have conversations that deal with conflict. Sometimes you're concerned about the relationship with the person that you need to talk with. Will they receive the feedback I need to give them in a way that we can positively move through? Are they going to be mad at me? Do I feel safe having a conversation that maybe is surrounding the area of conflict or maybe relationship? If we have different values, the person that I need to have this crucial conversation with, how are we going to find that sweet spot where we can get on the same page about whatever it is we're struggling with? Sometimes it's about ethics. Honestly, it's about, I think this is right or I think this is wrong. And I think you have a different view and opinion of that. And our non alliance on that is impacting our student organization, or it's impacting our friendship, or it's impacting the team that we work on. And so the stakes are high. Sometimes it's just about different opinions and people are getting really emotional about it. So you could be at, let's say, in a student organization meeting and you're debating over a programming idea, or you're at work and you as coworkers are debating how we're going to do some process. And people are just getting really heightened emotions, frustrated, all those kind of things. And so sometimes there's also, besides frustration or being mad about something, I want you to also notice on the slide that it says fear or anxiety. Sometimes we're scared to try something new, or we're scared to follow up on something that we know that we need to do that, or we're anxious about it because we don't know how it's going to go. And so that anxiety ramps up. So these emotions can cloud your judgment, could also cloud the other person's judgment. And so, how do we have a good, crucial conversation so that we can work well together and move forward, not backwards? So, some examples. So, we've got on here mediating conflict, giving and receiving critical feedback. Sometimes it's ending a relationship. Sometimes it's quitting a group or leaving a position. Sometimes somebody says something that you found inappropriate. And how do I call them in instead of calling them out? And so we can talk about that concept as well, but sometimes you have to address an inappropriate comment. Um, and sometimes you just want to change how something's done, but it's so significantly different. You feel anxious about proposing this idea. So that could be a positive way to have a crucial conversation as well.
Mhm. Awesome. So now we're going to move into the 5 keys to handling crucial conversations. So how are you going to approach crucial conversations? And I love this quote from Simon Sinek. He's in that picture right there. It says one of the skills we need to have as humans is how to have uncomfortable conversations. So being uncomfortable is part of being human, and sometimes discomfort is caused by something that we have with another person, and the best way to deal with it is lean into it. So really the purpose of us hopefully helping you build this skill is to know that sometimes these conversations are not avoidable and sometimes they're uncomfortable, but that's okay. That's part of being a human being. That's part of building relationships with other people. Nobody is ever going to agree on every single thing, and sometimes these hard conversations need to happen. So let's start with the first two. So number one to handling a crucial conversation is starting with the heart. So asking yourself, what are you personally wanting from the conversation? What are you wanting for yourself? What are you wanting for the other person that you're talking to? What are you wanting from the relationship? Kind of just setting that purpose of the conversation first. And then also understanding that you all at in some way have mutual goals, and that will help you set that purpose, make sure there's at least some type of mutual goal there to help you stay grounded. If something gets emotional or maybe you get off topic with the conversation, going back to, okay, this is the purpose of the conversation. This is what we were talking about. Sometimes if you're having a crucial conversation with someone, the topic might get changed, or someone maybe they get defensive and they want to talk about something else or not have the conversation anymore. Saying, hey, I actually really wanted to talk about this for this reason. I really wanted to talk about this for this purpose can help you stay on track. So setting that intention first can be a great start to having that conversation. The second piece that I think is important with crucial conversations is making it safe. So people who feel unsafe, or somebody who feels unsafe having a conversation, are not going to be able to engage and be honest and be authentic in that conversation. So you might not even reach your goal if there's not that psychological safety. So there are a few ways to establish psychological safety. I think one is avoiding blame. So not saying, well, you did this wrong, or you failed at this, or this is your fault. Just stating the facts, maybe saying, hey, I noticed this, or again, just taking away that blame and that negative blame for that person. Stating your intentions, I think this goes back to stating, this is why I want to have this conversation. I want to make sure we're being honest. I want to make sure we're maintaining our relationship. Maybe having this conversation aligns with the goals of your organization. So just stating those intentions so that person is not blindsided or confused about what the conversation is about.
Olivia, can I give an
Also,
example of how to do that?
absolutely, yeah.
Sure. So when I think about the heart and the mutual goal, sometimes your mutual goal is I want our organization to be successful, or I want this event to be successful, or I want to get an A on my assignment, right? So when we talk about making it safe, sometimes it's like, hey, I noticed that the group had set a couple different deadlines and this one wasn't met. And I know that you had volunteered to do that. Could you tell me what happened? Did you hear the different tone of voice? It wasn't, "Could you tell me what happened?" Like, you want to use that tone of voice that's curiosity focused.
Yep.
"Hey, what happened?" You might find out that that person, like, was sick, had something going on in their personal life, or it
Mhm.
could be that they just spaced, right? They might even apologize at that moment. But if you go in with that tone of voice that doesn't say, "Hey, I wanna have a successful outcome from this conversation," it's gonna change your tone of voice.
Yeah.
Um, and so then you do the active listening. And by the way, we have a workshop on active listening skills that I would recommend you watch next. But you use your active listening skills to then hear, focus in on them, and acknowledge their point of view if they say, I didn't clearly understand that was the deadline. Right. So then you go,
Right.
oh, well, let's talk about what you heard at the meeting, or where our resources are. If you need to double check things that you volunteered to do, you could actually find it here versus being really defensive, very like up in their face.
Yeah, absolutely. I think putting yourself in that person's shoes, acknowledging their point of view is a really great strategy. And I think in a future slide, we'll talk a little bit more about coming from a place of curiosity. But Tears, I think you're right on the money on the tone of voice. I think that can be really, really important when you're approaching a crucial conversation.
All right, so let's look at step 3. So, mastering your stories. Sometimes emotions can hijack the conversation. Like if you're frustrated, it's coming out. And so you also have to think about, if I already have a story in my head about this person's responsibility or lack of responsibility or their choices, um, is it really accurate? Do you know the whole picture of who that person is? Do you know the picture of what's happening in their life right now? So we fill in the gaps, as our slide says, sometimes with assumptions that aren't true. So challenge yourself, and stay in that place of, hey, I just want to know what happened. My mutual goal, and I think you're invested in this too, we want to, be successful with this. So I'm really just trying to figure out what happened. How can I help us as a group, or you and I as partners on this project, or as officers in this club? How can we work together to support each other? And then we have an actual method that you can follow. So this is the STATE technique. So following this acronym gives you a script and the sequence that you should use if you're nervous about having a crucial conversation. So number 1, share the facts and stick to what you observed. Number 2, tell your story. So your story is short. It's not 10 minutes at them. It's more like 1 minute of, "Oh, this is how I interpreted that," or "That's how this felt to me," or "This is what I observed." So tell your how it felt to you or what you saw. Then A, ask for their path. So what was their perspective? What was going on? That's that practicing that curiosity that we talked about in step 2 and step 3. And then talk tentatively. So you notice that some of the examples I've already given have been, "Oh, can you tell me more about that? Because that's not quite what I thought happened." So there again, that tone of voice is a question. Is that what happened? Am I making an assumption? Maybe even say that. I assumed this. Can you tell me what was really going on? Because I don't want to disrespect you. I want to understand. And then lastly, encourage testing. So actually say, if you disagree with me, I care enough about our group, or I care enough about our friendship. I'd like to hear that. So I'm open to that. So I've just given permission to that person to disagree with me if I misunderstood or I had the facts wrong. Maybe the facts I saw weren't the facts that they experienced. So again, state, share the facts, tell your story, ask for their or their information, talk tentatively, and encourage testing.
Awesome. And then the last key that we want you to have for handling crucial conversation is moving to action. So hopefully your conversations lead to more clarity. We're discussing, each person is giving their perspective, and hopefully you're coming to maybe not an understanding, but at least a little bit more clarity on each person's perspective. And then with that, hopefully you can define the next steps. Or assign responsibilities or agree to follow up. So maybe to use Tierza's example, that person missed a deadline. In the future, you say, well, I can give you a reminder again if you need it, because maybe they missed the deadline because they forgot, or they missed the deadline because it wasn't written down for them. and you're asking, okay, how can I help you moving forward? What can we change moving forward so that that doesn't happen again? Or how can I help you with this as we move forward? So agreeing on follow up, maybe assigning some responsibilities, whether that's for you or for the other person, and just being really clear on, okay, now we have a better understanding of the situation. What are we going to do with that information? What are we going to do moving forward? I also really like this mindset shift key thing. So I think we talked a little bit already about asking questions. So I think a shift for approaching these conversations is literally just coming from that lens of I want to know more. I'm curious about this person's perspective. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes instead of saying, oh, this person's so difficult or this person's so negative. Just making those blanket statements, say, I want to know more about what their experience. I wonder why, or I wonder what's going on with them. I always say that curiosity creates connection. So understanding how you can be curious in order to connect more with that person instead of having conflict or blame or making assumptions, right? It's all about asking questions and being curious.
All right. So at this point in time, we invite you to pause the video and take a moment and kind of think about a time when you needed to have a crucial conversation. How did that conversation actually go? So give yourself some assessment there. What went well? What didn't go well? If you could do it again, what would you do differently? We call that in the Center for Leadership plus minus delta. Did you use any of the strategies that we talked about? And what was the outcome? If you did use some of those strategies, was that helpful? Did this make sense as we went through those five because you've tried some of them? And then I want you to think about what might you improve the next time you approach a crucial conversation. So maybe take some notes for yourself on that.
Yeah. Feel free to pause the video, rewind if you want to go back and look at the strategies we just ran through, and write down some of these notes for yourself.
So Olivia, if I were to ask you this question, would you have an example for us?
Yeah, this actually makes me think too back when I was a leader in my student organization as an undergraduate student. I was in an organization where we had students connecting with alumni, and we wanted students to reach out to alumni. I was actually overseeing, first, I was in charge of the program, and then I was overseeing the person who was in charge of the program for our pen pal program. So these would be students matched up with alumni. And when I was in charge of the program, I had to email alumni, email students, remind people to reach out to each other. Most of the pen pals just emailed back and forth, but sometimes alumni would reach out and say, hey, my student hasn't emailed me. So you would have to go to that student and say, hey, email your alumni, that kind of thing. So I did that program. Then the next year I became a director. So I helped the student that was then in charge of that program. And I noticed that sometimes students and alumni would make comments of like, oh, I reached out with a question and I never heard back from the leader of that program, right? Like I wanted to join Buckeye Pen Pals and or the Pen Pal program, and I asked that person and they never responded to me. So it became clear that the person that was in charge of the program did not respond to some of the emails that they had got from people that wanted to be in the program or had questions about the program. So then I had to sit down with that person, and I actually got really great advice from one of my mentors of just ask them what's going on. Maybe their computer's broken, right? It could be something as simple as they simply cannot access their email right now. Um, and I sat down with that person and I said, hey, I noticed, I heard some things, I heard some people had questions and they haven't been responded to. What's going on? Are you getting these emails? And the person, they were getting the emails. They were just having a really, really busy semester. They were taking hard classes. They had seen the emails. They meant to get back to those people, but they just didn't have the time. She was super busy. So I, instead of saying I'm going to have somebody else do this position or hey, you really need to get on it, I just said, hey, how about you forward some of them to me? I have time. I can help you respond, right? It was So I came from a point of curiosity. I didn't blame them for not responding. I wasn't angry, right? It's just a pen pal program. It wasn't anything too serious. So I just said, "Hey, I can help you with this." So that was kind of like that follow-up piece.
Thank you for
That
sharing that.
yeah,
Supporting a person is an okay outcome. I think
right.
sometimes when we think we're having a crucial conversation and it might be confrontation oriented, is that that person's going to always change their behavior. Sometimes
Mhm.
they do need to change their behavior because they made a commitment, but other times you're right. They need some support. And so that if you lead with the curiosity instead of confrontation, sometimes you see that quicker that, oh, I could support you while you deal with whatever, or while you recover, or you make a different plan.
Mhm. Absolutely. Awesome. So, as we continue goal setting and thinking about how you might have crucial conversations, if you didn't get the chance to write down some of your goals in that last slide or think about it, or maybe you couldn't come up with an example for yourself, write down some goals that you have in general about having more productive crucial conversations. So, maybe your goal is to write down the state method, or maybe your goal is, hey, I've been needing to talk to this person about something and I just have not done it because I don't know how to approach it. Now you have some skills. Maybe it's time to have that conversation with that person. And then if you're a student organization leader, thinking about your organization, when might you need to have crucial conversations with your members or maybe with leadership team or general members in your organization? So this might not be something that's coming up right this second, but maybe what are some examples of times of the year or situations that you've been in as an organization where you've needed to have crucial conversations? And then what steps can you do to make sure that everyone in your organization feels heard and respected? I'll also plug the active listening online workshop that we have. Definitely watch that. I think that can give you some great strategies. But if you don't have time, think now. How can you make sure that everyone feels heard and respected? How can you create some of that psychological safety that we talked about? What are those steps that you can take as an organization leader? And then also going along with that, how can you create a culture of leaning into crucial conversations? I think a lot of the times these conversations can be scary. Like we talked about, the stakes are high, emotions can be high, and sometimes it's easy to avoid them. But how can we make sure that we're leaning into them? Because again, they can lead to better understanding, better outcomes, reaching your goals, and less conflict if you lean into having these conversations. So what can you do to create that culture in your organization? Maybe that's sharing this video or sharing these tactics with other people in your group so that everybody can be well equipped to have crucial conversations. So that is all the information we had for you all in this video. But again, if you are looking for more resources, maybe you want to build another leadership skill, or maybe you do want to learn more about crucial conversations, definitely reach out to the Center for Leadership. We are a resource here for any and all Elon student. So whether or not you're a student organization leader, we are here for you. So we are in Mosley 230. It is in the Mosley Student Center on the second floor. We're right up the stairs across from the mailroom. You can also email us if you have questions or visit our website. That's where you're going to find all of our offerings and programs. I would also highly recommend that you follow us on Instagram because we post leadership tips, we post our events. We have a lot of events and offerings that are open to all Elon students. So if you just want to come to one thing and just learn more, you can definitely check us out on there. I also included a picture of the Phoenix Leaders Program. If you are a first year student or you know a first year student, maybe there's a member in your organization who has not stepped into a leadership role yet, or you yourself have not stepped into a leadership role yet, but you're looking to prepare yourself to and you want to get more involved, definitely join the Leadership Fellows Program. It is geared for students who want to step into leadership, want to have maybe some roles or become a leader in their organization, but want to connect with more people and learn more skills first. We also have in-person leadership workshops. We have other online leadership workshops that you can check out. We house the leadership ELR. So if you do have a leadership position, you can sign up for that and check that out. So again, just overall keep us in mind. We do leadership coaching and we have a lot of resources again for all Elon students. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And again, check out our other videos too. Have a great day.